Well, hello everybody, and happy Christmas to everybody, and welcome to another Zenography vlog, whatever that is. Today we're going to be looking at these little cameras in the 110 film format. Alright, so 110 film. Well, it's a bit of a change for me because up to now I've done mostly 35mm rangefinder vlogs. We're going to look today at these little cameras. These are amazing little cameras. They take a tiny little film cartridge. My understanding is that the film inside these is actually of an exact same size to 16mm movie film. So it's a very small frame. Your chances of getting shallow depth of field with one are not great, unless you go pretty close up. But it's a really interesting little system, and I quite like them. So let's have a look what we've got here. No, not that one. We've got here quite a cheap little 110 camera. This is a point and shoot. This is the Fujika Pocket 400. There we are. That's the top, and that's the front. It's got a little lens here. I think this is, beg your pardon, it's got a little lens here. I think this is the a plastic lens on this one. This is a pretty cheap one, though I may be wrong. I bought this for what, £5 from eBay, and it's a nice little camera. It's a little point and shoot, so it's great for lomography or anything like that, you know, just taking quick shots without having to think too much about it. The 110 film format was a Kodak invention. I think around about 1970, something like that, and it was a very popular consumer format. And the great advantage these little cameras have is that they are small, and as you may have realised by now, I think one of the greatest virtues any camera can have is being small. So these really are small little things. Quick look at the Fujika. We've got a distance scale here, focusing scale. So you slide that along to either side to focus. It's a viewfinder camera. 110s are mostly viewfinder cameras. So you can't really tell, you know, you've got to be pretty good at distance. You've got to guess the distance to get full use out of this one. Although with the format being so small, you get so much depth of field that there's not really any need to worry too much about setting distance, unless you get it totally wrong, of course. So there's loads of these little point and shoots available. If you want to try 110 film photography, there's a lot of little point and shoots. And you can get the film for them again. Film stopped being manufactured around 2009, and the stocks were running out and they were getting more and more expensive on eBay. However, lomography manufacture these films now in a range of different types. I think there's 3 different types. There's their red scale one, there's a black and white one, and there's one I think they call it Tiger or something, which has nice vibrant colours on it. So, you know, if you want to have a look, get yourself one of these very cheaply, and try it out. Alternatively, you could go a bit further up market, and we've got here an example of Kodak. That's the top plate of the Kodak. This is the Instamatic 60, and this was the top of the range at the time. I think this is a very early 70s camera. This was the top of the range at the time. It has a very nice little lens on it. I'm not quite sure what the aperture is on this one. oh hold on, f2.7. So that's quite a wide aperture. It's a fixed aperture, but what you do get on this camera that's really, really nice is a rangefinder. This actually has a rangefinder on it. So when you move the focusing scale here, you actually see a double image in the viewfinder, which is quite amazing. That such a tiny little camera as this should have a rangefinder in it. So this is quite a nice quality camera. This has a glass lens, f2.7, so it opens up reasonably wide, and it's very well made, and it's a really nice little piece of kit. One of the problems with this camera has been the battery, which has been for some time unavailable, but there is a technique where you can put 3 little button cells together to make a new battery for it, which gives the right voltage, and so these are now usable again, especially since film is available again. So that's the Kodak Instamatic 60, which has a rangefinder. This is a silver one. The most sought after ones are the black ones, but they don't go for an awful lot. I think the last one I saw go on eBay went for about £10. Personally, I think that black cameras usually look better than silver ones. But the reason the black Instamatic 60s are collectible, a little more collectible than these, is because they're quite rare. So it's a lovely little camera, and well worth a go if you fancy trying a bit of 110 photography. Next up, we've got this little fellow. This is the Canon 110 ED, and this too, incredibly, has a rangefinder on it. So you've got the focusing scale there, and as you move it, as you slide it, you will see that the image comes together, little double image comes together to show you what you're shooting. This has an f2 lens, so this is a really nice little camera. f2 is pretty wide aperture for one of these. So lovely little camera, and it's very well made, made in the USA. It has an option to put a date stamp on it, which I think was probably quite popular and quite high tech at the time. Exposure controls are really simple. It's got cloudy, it's got sunny, and it's also got a flash setting, so that's a very simple sort of arrangement for exposure. But then again, why would you really want to do any more, especially on one of these little fellas? There's a shoe on here. I believe it's a hot shoe, though I may be wrong. I think it's a hot shoe. But the most incredible thing about this is that it actually has a rangefinder on it. It really, I find that quite astonishing. This is a really nice one if you want to make the absolute best of the 110 format. It's a very small frame, so the best lens you can get is always a good thing. So that is a lovely little piece of kit. Next up, we've got this. This is probably my favourite of the 110s. It's beautiful. It really is. It's got a little leather case. Open up the case and out comes the Rollei A110. So this is a very, very nice little camera. The lens is 2.8 f2.8. So again, a reasonably large aperture. The great advantage of this one is it's really, really tiny, as you can see, and it fits in jacket pocket or a handbag or a purse or a, you know, whatever you want. It's a lovely little camera, and it's very high quality. It's made by Rollei. So how do we actually use it? Well, to use it, you pull it open like this, and it has scale focusing. So you actually can see in the viewfinder the little focusing marks. So you put it to your eye, and you can see in the viewfinder all the focusing marks that you need. Close, medium shot, and distant. It focuses to 3.5 feet. It's just lovely. It's absolutely fantastic. It's got a glass lens, fully coated, and the formula of that lens, I think this is a Tessar lens, and it's a heavy camera. You can feel that. You can feel the weight of that. It's made of all steel, maybe stainless steel. The colouring is not, I am told, paint, but in fact what it is a chrome plating with some sort of blackening effect within it. So it's really high quality little camera. Early examples of these were made in Germany, and I've got a German one. This one that I'm showing you now is made in Singapore. The later ones were made in Singapore, I think, to bring down manufacturing costs. But there's really no difference in quality as far as I can see. Both are lovely little pieces of kit, very well made, and really a joy to use. When you're done using it, close it up like that. That's beautiful. And in fact, the opening and closing action winds on the film. To put a film into any 110 camera is very simple, because it's just a cartridge. If I can remember how to open this, I'll be doing pretty well. Ah, there we are, got it. So, little door opens up, and you pop in your cartridge. This is a spent cartridge, but just to show you, pop in your cartridge that way, like that, and close the door up, and there you go. Exposure numbers are through a window here, so you know how many you've got left, which is a nice old school approach. And then we just close it up, and there we go. Lovely. This is my favourite of the 110 cameras. These go for around, I don't know, I suppose anywhere from between £25 to £40 depending on condition. I was quite lucky with this one. It's very nice condition. I don't think it's been too much used. So there we are. That's the Rollei. Lovely little piece of kit. There is a Rollei A110, which is exactly the same, except for, I believe it has a slightly smaller range of shutter speeds or exposure possibilities, but it's still a great little piece of kit. Finally, we have something extraordinary, still in its original case. This is a Minolta. This is the Minolta 110 Zoom SLR. It's actually an SLR. There are two kinds of Minolta 110 SLRs. This is the early one, but there's also a later one which looks more like a conventional film SLR. I like this one because it's just so kooky and odd looking. Right, so what can we say about this? If we take off the lens cap, we see that the lens is really pretty cool. It's a nice large lens with lots of elements in it. I don't know if you can see that. It's not a particularly fast lens. It opens only to f4.5. But the great advantage this camera does have is that it's a zoom, and you just operate the zoom by turning the lens ring here. Yeah. And it focuses to 1 meter, or if you use the macro function, it will focus to a much closer distance. So here's the focusing ring is around the outside here. So you turn that to focus. And then the zoom ring is here. So it zooms from, what is it zoom from? 25 mil to 50 mil. So that's probably about the equivalent of 100 mil on a 35mm SLR. And it's really quite an extraordinary piece of kit. It's very odd looking. It's very well made. There's the top plate. It has adjustable aperture, yeah, so it goes from f4.5 up to f16. So it's fairly versatile, and it's a really, again, a really nice piece of kit if you want to have a little go at 110 film photography. The wind on lever is underneath, so you just wind that on like that, and then you take a shot. The shutter button's on top here. Doesn't seem to want to work. Ah, no, it's me being stupid again. It's on lock. Yeah, so wind on, press the shutter. Ka-ching, there we go. So, that is my brief overview of my 110 film camera collection. They're really great little things. The problem is that you can't very easily get any negatives printed up these days. You can do it, there are places who still do it, but they're pretty few and far between. A lot of photo shops, independent photo developing shops, will develop the film because they can just run it through their machine, but they don't have the facilities. More often than not, they don't have the facilities to print anymore. However, you can get around that by if you have a close-up lens. The method I use is I put them against a light box, and I'll photograph with a close-up lens on a digital SLR, then take it into Photoshop in a computer and invert the image, and you get a colour image. I've had mixed results with that. It's probably better to get them printed up, but I'll put a couple of images in to show you what I've achieved. 110 photography is, like all photography, a huge amount of fun. So go out, get one, give it a try. That's it for now, everybody. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, seasonal greetings, and much joy and peace. And we'll return next year for more Zenography, whatever that should turn out to be. So thank you, goodbye.
Oh, paper rain, why have you come again, oh paper sun? Where have you gone, oh paper snow? It won't be long until you go, and then we'll see again that paper rain. Yes, we will. Oh, paper rain, why have you come again, oh paper sun? Where have you